So today we're going to learn about billing members in Congregation Connect. Our agenda will include going over income accounts, looking at designations in Congregation Connect, invoices and transactions, generate revenue, and global billing. Here we have our income accounts, and this relates to your chart of accounts. Some of these, as you can see, are AR, some are cash, and some are income. And you also have the active checkbox here to indicate which accounts are active. Designations in Congregation Connect, they most closely align with, for instance, billable categories in Havareware, for instance. You do have tax eligibility listed here, and you'll see that each one of these will link to an AR, income, or cash account for financial reconciliation. Invoices and transactions in Congregation Connect are two different things. An invoice is a grouping of transactions. It's the record in Salesforce that holds the transactions. A transaction is a financial interaction happening on an invoice. It can be a billing, a payment, adjustment, write-off, etc. A statement is a separate item. It refers to the paper that actually goes to the member. An invoice holds the summary information, which is seen at the top of this screen. So let's take a closer look at all of this. So first of all, I'm in my financials app up here on the top left side. You can see that because this gives me access to the tabs that I'm going to use more frequently right now. I can use my waffle icon over here to search for my income accounts. And I'll pull that up. Here are my income accounts. It defaults to my recently viewed. So I'm going to select the all view to view all of my income accounts. Here we go. You can see that each one of these accounts is either income, cash, or AR. You can also see that these are currently active. And I'm going to click on an income account name just to show you. Here are the details of the income account. You have the income account name, the account type, it is active, and I have a little description over here. So again, this is my income account. Now let's take a quick look at designations. I'm going to go to my waffle and pull up designations. Again, defaults to my recently viewed, so I'm going to select all. And here are all of my designations. Some designations have the year associated with them. Let's take a look at a specific designation. I'll click on the building fund, for instance. Here is an example of the designation. You have the designation name here. You have the tax deductible calculation set to % of amount. So we have 100% of the amount tax deductible for this case. We also have a designation category here. So designation categories are used to help you organize and report on designations much more easily. So I do have a category selected here. And again, this is going to make your reporting, etc., much easier to select a designation category for each of your designations. I do have this active box selected because it is an active designation. Now let's take a look at an individual account record. I'm going to pull up, let's do Seinfeld, for example. Here is an individual account record. Under the details here, you'll see I have a total remaining balance listed here. This is the total remaining balance open for all time. Also, let's take a look at the invoices on this account. From my quick links, I'm just going to click on invoices. Here, I can see all of the invoices on this account. I can sort by balance due. And I can also use these filters on the right-hand side if I'd like to. I'm going to click on an invoice to show an example. Let's click on membership dues. Here is an example of an invoice. I have the summary information at the top here. Down here, I have the transactions listed. You'll see I have the transaction type, the date, the amount due, I also have information down here about this invoice. I have the invoice name listed right here, the account name listed right here, the primary outreach source, the amount of the invoice. And over here, I have some additional information such as invoice record type, close date, and stage. Down here under transaction summary, I have the summary of all the transactions that are included within this invoice. There are 3 total transactions in this invoice. I have my balance due and I have my total credited amount. Any adjustment or amount written off or refunds will be listed in this section over here. Also down here, I have any subscription information, etc. I'm going to scroll back up here and let's take a look at a scheduled payment. You'll see the first transaction listed here is a scheduled payment. I'm going to click on that just to show you the details of a scheduled payment. The transaction type is scheduled payment listed right here. I have the age, I have the date, the amount, I have the invoice belongs to, and the date of that invoice, as well as the designation that this is for. Down here, the status information will tell me whether or not it's been paid, what amount has been paid, and what amount is still due. Any adjusted transaction amount, and then I have the posted amount down here. If anything is voided or written off or refunded, it will be shown down here. Under stock information, I can indicate whether something's been paid by a stock. The payment information will list the method of payment, and any other information that goes along with that payment method will be listed down here. So let's go back to the invoice. And let's go to the actual invoice record. I'm going to click on it again. So here, the invoice record itself, from the invoice record, you'll see that I can, at the top of the screen, I have a printable view here, and I can also delete this or change it. I also want to note that I can, from the top here, change my view of the transactions if I'd like to view this differently. But you will notice that under the transactions list on the invoice, there's always going to be at least one scheduled payment on every invoice. So every invoice needs to have at least one scheduled payment on it. And invoices are only created through the wizards that are shown in this training. It's important not to go anywhere else to create scheduled payments. So let's take a look. Taking a look at the generate revenue wizard. So, which is how we bill a single account. The generate revenue wizard is used when you need to do a one-off or just a few accounts at a time. So if you, for instance, received a call at the office and someone wanted to just make a single donation for their grandmother, you could use this wizard to just enter that one billing on a single account. In this screenshot, you'll see this is where you enter the payments into the system, and you can do 3 billings on this screen, but it will appear as one invoice. So let's take a look at this. So on my main account screen for this particular account, I have this generate revenue button at the top right corner. Every account has this little button that says generate revenue on it in the top right corner. I'm going to click on it in order to generate a billing on this account. Now, if I wanted to indicate that this was a membership invoice, I could select membership invoice here. I'm going to select a designation So let's say that this is for the picnic 2021. I can optionally add a description here. Number of units can be used if there was a number of items being sold, such as tickets. The amount here, I can enter an amount. Let's say it's $200. I can override the tax deductible calculation here if I want to. I could check this off and change the tax deductible amounts here. I can set an interval for installments here. So these three fields, interval, number of installments, and first installment date, these work together if I wanted to change the intervals or installments for this particular billing. I'm going to leave this as one, but you do have the option to change this to monthly, for example, and select the number of installments. And just note that your first installment date, it will go by that date, and it will set up another one on the next date. So if I were to say monthly and say this was two installments, then my first installment date would be 7/29/2021, and my second installment date would be 8/29/2021 because I set it up as monthly. For this example, I'm going to leave it as I'm not going to do any installments. I'm just going to do one installment. So the interval does not matter here. And I'm keeping this as today, and the invoice created date on transaction is also today. I'm going to click on continue once I ensure that all of these fields are correct. So now I'm going to click on continue. Once I click on continue, I can now go to that account to see the invoice that has just been processed. So let's go to the account. Here I am back on the main account screen, and I can click back on the invoices to see the invoice that I just created. I have this sorted by close date, which was the date that we entered as the transaction date. And I have the invoice that I just created at the top here. I'm going to click on that invoice. Here is my invoice with my one scheduled payment transaction listed here. The amount due is $200, and there has not been anything paid towards this yet. So remember that on that invoice that we just created, this one, we could have added multiple designations, and it would have created multiple scheduled payments. But here is the one that we just created. Now, let's take a look. Remember that multiple scheduled payments would have been created under that same invoice if we did do more than one scheduled payment. So let's now take a look at global billing. Global billing is generated from an outreach. Global billing is how we can mass bill accounts for one or more designations in one step. In this screenshot, I have two different sections to do two different billings. So again, global billing is generated from an outreach. When you are running billing, you can choose whether to use the family billing plan, or you can specify a plan for billing. You can choose whether you want to enter the amount or use an amount specified on the account. So billing plans are records which specify installment frequency and how much of the billing is applied to each installment when you do mass billing. The billing plans that you create will depend on your organization's own preferences for billing. For example, you can create a billing plan that creates one installment for July 1st, or you can create a billing plan which creates 10 installments starting on September 15th. The billing plans that you create are organization specific. Here I did 10 monthly, and the installments were split into 10 months, and was able to specify which percentage of the billing was applied to each month. So each account can have a billing plan, and you can use that account's billing plan, or you can choose to use a generic plan for everyone. Now, assigning a billing plan. How do you assign a billing plan? You can assign a billing plan to each account by editing the account and putting in the applicable billing plan. You can do this through a list view or a mass update via Apsona as well. You can also use a combination of portal forms or emails to ask members to select their preference if you'd like to do that. But it is important to note that a billing plan needs to be active in order to use it, to assign it. So it's active, we will see on the billing plan screen. The billing plan start date is what actually affects the billings. So if I run this billing plan now, it will backdate starting from July 1st, 2020. Whereas if I want to start next year, I would need to use July 1st, 2021. So does that mean that I need to create a new billing plan every year? So if your billing plans are the same months and installments, you can just change the start date to work within your current billing cycle. So let's take a closer look at all of this. To create a billing plan, I'm going to the waffle and I'm going to search for billing plans. Here I have my billing plans screen. I'm going to select all. Here are all my billing plans, but right now I'm going to create a new billing plan. So I clicked on the new button in the top right corner, and let's call this billing plan 1 installment July. Now, you can call it whatever you want, but I do suggest that it's just a little bit descriptive so you know what type of plan it is. In this case, let's say the billing start date is July. Let's say it's July 1st. Let's say 2022. Now, I'm going to deselect all of these other months. You'll see as I do that, the percentages are changing. I have this automatically updating as I'm clicking fewer and fewer months. It's automatically calculating until I get 100% in July. So I have, oh, my billing start date, I want 2022. Okay, and now I have one installment in July. I have my total set at 100%, and it's very important that you mark this active in order to be able to assign it. Also note that when installments don't evenly divide by 100, any extra percentage is going to go in the last transaction. So here I'm going to select save and new. And next, let's do 4 quarterly installments starting in July. So I'm going to say 4 quarterly installments, July. Let's say the start date is still for next year, 2022, July 1, billing start date. And I'm going to deselect so I have 4 quarterly installments. I'm going to leave them all at 25%. I'm going to mark this as active, and I'm going to click on save in the bottom right corner. Now, I'm going to go to an account and I'm going to assign them a billing plan. Let's go to my Seinfeld account. Now, on the account, I'm scrolling down on the main screen under details. And here under membership information, I see billing plan. I'm going to change this. I clicked on the little edit icon and I'm going to select, I'm going to deselect that and I'm going to select, let's select 4 quarterly installments for July. And I'm going to click save. So now I have updated their billing plan. This is how I can update one account's billing plan. Again, from the main account screen, I simply scrolled down and I updated their billing plan. Now, another way that I could do this, because it might get tedious doing it individually, I could do this in Appsona. So let's take a look briefly at Appsona and how I might do this if I wanted to change billing plans for multiple families. Up here, first, I'm going to search my accounts, or I'm going to, let's filter them to account type. Account type is membership type is what I want. Account membership type is among, I'm going to say family, and I'm going to search. So here I have 55 results here, and I'm going to select all of them, and I can go to tools up here in the top right. I can click update checked, and here I can mass update all of those families and I can change their billing plan. So if I wanted to, I could type in billing plan here. Select billing plan, and here on the values, I can say, I can change this to, let's change it to 1 installment July. So here it says 55 checked records will be updated, and I can click update. And here it's updating my records, and now it's complete. So here I've just updated the billing plan for all of those members. I'm going to exit out of this. And so now let's take a look at the billing wizard. We've seen how we could update the billing plans for individual accounts, or how to do a mass update using Appsona. And now let's look at the billing wizard, which allows you to bill up to 5 separate designations at a time. Remember, the billing wizard is different than the generate revenue button that we looked at earlier. Using the billing wizard, each billing will generate its own invoices. Only one charge can be a membership invoice, which in turn will cause the membership history record to be created and all the accounts to be updated. Each charge can be billed with a specific amount or with a field from the account record. And you can use the billing plan specified on the account record, or you can use one billing plan for all of the accounts in the system. So let's take a closer look at. So one thing I did was create an outreach from family membership, so all people on family membership. And I've also created a report for this example that I'm going to use to add everyone to this outreach. It is my membership type equals family report, which we see here. I'm going to click on add to campaign. And my outreach is going to be family membership type. I'm going to click submit. And now it says adding members to family membership type. We will email you when the process complete. And just note that once this is complete, I will have my all of these people added to my outreach. But regardless of how many contacts I have from each account here, each account's only going to be billed once. So let's go back to my outreach. I'm going to go to my outreaches. I'm going to go to family membership type, and I'm still waiting for this to be updated. Here we go. My outreach members are all here. So I have 70 members here, but remember, I'm going to go to global billing from my outreach. Now I am in my outreach screen. On my drop-down arrow, I'm going to click global billing here in the top right corner. Here, I'm going to select a designation. I will use the, let's do Picnic 2021. And here I can, if I want to, I can select membership invoice if it is for membership. If this were for membership, I could select membership invoice, and the information here would override their, or would create a membership history record on their account. For now, I'm just going to bill for the Picnic 2021, and I'm going to select a billing plan here. Notice that I have the option to use the family's billing plan. If they already have a billing plan listed on their account, it will use the family's billing plan. Here, I'm going to say one installment. The billing amount, I can use an account amount if that is a field that I already have information in. Here, I am going to select an amount to bill. I'm going to say $200. And this is going to bill all of these families in one installment for the amount of $200. Just know that you do have these other options, though, to use the family's billing plan, or if you wanted to use the account amount, you could do that. So here I'm going to click continue. Now I can take a look at all the billings that are going to be added. If I want to, I can edit an individual account. I can override the amount or the billing plan for any of these accounts if I would like to. I can simply type in the box and override the amount for any specific account, the amount or the billing plan for any of these accounts. But if this looks correct to me, then I am going to proceed, and I'm going to click Generate Invoices. Now it says invoices are being processed. Please do not exit this page. And then I should have an invoice generated for every account. And remember, regardless of how many contacts I have in total, each account is only going to be be built once. So this might take a moment or a few moments, since there are going to be quite a few billings created, invoices created. And you see here at the bottom of the page, this bottom left side says there is a total of 55 accounts. So even though I had 70 contacts or 70 members here, I'm only billing 55 accounts because some of these members are on one account. So here, when I back on my outreach screen now, and it says status billed, so I have 70, so 100% of my outreach members have been billed appropriately. And if anyone had not been billed, then this status would still be sent, and I would receive an error email, just so you know that. So here I've successfully billed them. I can click view all here. And if I were to go to one of their accounts, let's click on Breslow. Breslow household account. Now, if I look at the invoices here, here is the most recent invoice, and here is the invoice that we just created. The Picnic 2021, it's been invoiced, and $200 is the total amount. And here it appears as a scheduled payment. So again, this is how we can mass bill accounts.